We're live.
We are live. All right, cool. Sounds good. All right. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm obviously Kyle McDougall, the CEO of Nobility and one of the founders of Rio. And I have here who I want to introduce our lead developer for Rio, Alex. Alex, if you want to give us like a quick introduction, I've been talking to you about, or I've been talking about you to the community for a while now. You've been working on Rio stuff for, what has it been, like a month now, I think. So if you just kind of want to give us like a background on how you got to this point and some of the stuff you're working on, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me, Kyle. So I've been working professionally as a software engineer since 2015. So it's been almost a decade since then. I began with just some simple websites and then went into more complicated projects. Still stayed on the web, but went into web apps specifically. They are more complex to build. So Rio is a web application, even though it looks a little bit like a website, but it's more of a web application because of the types of the functionality that needs to be built in there. So I worked on a bunch of different web applications, also tried some startups of my own that failed from the business perspective because I treated them like a technology problem. That's what we as developers usually do when we think of starting something. We think of it as a technological problem instead of an actual business problem. Then I went back into working as a software developer. I joined Oracle when they bought a new company that they wanted to integrate into their existing offering, and I helped them with that for a while. Then I decided to go back as an individual, and also had the opportunity to work with Kyle a little bit, and recently I've been invited to contribute here to the Rio platform, which seems really interesting, and it's really interesting to continue developing it and add basically everything that you guys have in mind. It's really awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. So we can start getting into like the platform, and I know people have some questions on what you've been working on up to this point. I guess what we're going to be working on going into the future, and I guess where we've been spending a lot of time. And I guess like we were talking before the call, people don't really know the nuances that go into a lot of this stuff. A lot of it looks easy, but the work and development that actually goes behind it is complex, and there's a lot of different variables that we have to consider. Like people don't even know about like the YouTube quota that we have, so that makes it difficult. So there's just a bunch of different things that we can get into right off the bat and just kind of go through like one by one the different items that you've worked on up to this point, and we can go from there. So the first thing, this is brand new pretty much. Oh, this is the Explore page. Just go to Rio page. So this is the brand new page that Lloyd just designed. We put the live stream and the carousel on this front page, and I know this is like one of your biggest projects up to this point, Alex, is this live stream and the carousel. And I think we also have to move these out to the sides a little bit more like the other one. We just took this from the Explore page, but yeah, these arrows I think should move out a little bit while we're talking about it. But
yeah. So even when it comes to just these arrows, for example, I mean, they seem super simple to move, but then we're using a library that gives us this functionality of the carousel. So we just need to tweak it and optimize it a little bit to be able to have all these different elements. But even that itself, like we have to care like a lot of different screen sizes. So for every different breakpoint, we need to go in there and actually specify what kind of sizing we want to have for every single thing. And sometimes it works. Sometimes we find a new size that doesn't work really well, so then we have to tweak that as well. So these are like some of the minor things in here. Then we also were wondering a bit about some of these streams they don't want to show like right away, and we were looking into that a little bit. We didn't really find a good way to get rid of that, but still. After a good amount of work, we're able to put this carousel in the live stream. And now as you switch the carousel, the live stream updates to that particular streamer. And these streamers, they're not actually just taken randomly. They are taken from a list of approved streamers that we have, because we want to make sure that the content that is shown here is not just some random, not safe for work content and stuff. We want to make sure that the content here is approved. So like it looks just like a little video player in here and a few streamers, but on the back there's a lot of things that go into that, into making this happen.
Yeah. And just to clarify, like this is a live stream right now, so this is happening live. If you go to Twitch and watch this guy, like I can click this and go to his Twitch channel. This is what he's doing right now. So this carousel, it only has live creators that we have in our preferred bucket, like, or in our selected bucket that Alex just mentioned. So we put in a bunch of people that we trust and a big pool of the streamers that we want to be considered in this carousel. And then when they're online, they get put here. Then we also have the ability to go in and make toggle preferred streamers. So like if we have a tournament or something, or we want to feature like a new huge streamer that became one of our partners or something, then we can prefer them and they'll be displayed here in this first position going forward. And then if we have multiple, they'll all be displayed there. So
yeah, and then there's an algorithm that picks who is going to be shown next into this list, into this carousel, and of course preferred. And if they're a Rio user, they're also going to get priority compared to non-Rio users, and so on.
Yep. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to say about the carousel? I know this was like where you spent a lot of your time at. So I know it's one of your babies.
Oh, well, I mean, for now, I think that's pretty much it in terms of like what I would want to say. Just needs a little bit of more polishes just to make sure that the arrows are showing properly. But overall, I mean, like this whole like being able to choose exactly who to show, that was a pretty big part. Being able to tweak the carousel itself to show properly the way we want, because like this component is not coming in like in exactly this way, the way that we see it here. It had to be changed and updated to be able to show here, because even like this pretty simple, like seems like a simple thing, it does require a lot of JavaScript work to be able to position the elements, like the streamers, in the way we see them, and like making them smaller and smaller to show this sense of depth. And then also the animation to go through this. It may seem simple on the surface, but there's a lot of code that needs to be written in there to be able to make this happen. And that's only what we see here on the front end. On the back end, where we don't see what's happening over there, we also needed to make sure that the streamers are actually live, and that we know, for example, how many we were able, like we need to, like the algorithm needs to consider the exact ordering the streamers that we have here. And sure, one way to control that is with the preferred toggle. So this way, Kyle is able to go into the admin section and pick who he wants to be shown first. But even those, let's say we have 4 or 5 streamers that have this preferred, we still need to order them in some way. And this requires quite a lot of thinking to be able to get this done, because otherwise we would make too many requests to the database. And then if we have a lot of people just accessing Rio at the same time, this would drag out. It would basically eat up a lot of the server resources, a lot of the infrastructure, which increases the costs, and all that stuff. So like a minor thing like that does require a lot of back-end work and also front-end work to be able to actually make this to make this look the way we want. So
yep, and I can definitely confirm that because my wallet looks very empty after all that. All right, so I think that's it for the carousel. Oh, the last thing I did want to touch on was so these are live streamers right now. If they go offline, like right this second, they get taken off the lives or the carousel right then.
Yeah. So if they're gonna go offline, so the thing is, we cannot really detect that for Twitch streamers that are not Rio streamers. So for them, when you refresh the page, you will definitely not see them anymore. For Rio streamers, that's a different story. For Rio streamers, would know when they go offline and they get taken off the carousel. Okay,
that was one of the things that a couple of the community members said they loved, was like, because they were watching one of the streamers, and on Rio they showed in the sidebar, and we'll get to that eventually, but once they went offline, then they were off the sidebar in a second. So it was cool that they saw it instant. There wasn't like a 5-minute delay, 15-minute delay that we've had in the past. So
yeah, because in the back we have a synchronizer for Twitch streamers. So there's code that is checking which one of our Rio streamers is live and who is no longer live. And when they're no longer live, there's an update that is happening in the database where we're saying that they're no longer live. And then based on that, we know like everywhere else in the code where we depend on this live or not live stuff, it gets re-executed basically.
Yeah. All right. So that should be it for this first part. And I guess like in general for this main page, for this landing page for our website, we changed it up because the prior one was a little bit more generalized. Like we didn't have any context here. So if like connect with your favorite streamers, we would just leave it there. We didn't have any kind of content under it that kind of explained like how you can connect with your favorite streamers. Or down here, never miss any to action. We didn't really go into what exactly Rio was, what we had to offer, so that we want to tell people that we are able to display all your live streams in real time. It doesn't matter what platform you're streaming from. So we just kind of went through some of the benefits of what Rio is and what we could offer people, and then we just wanted to give them a little bit more detail, and we wanted to update like our call of actions as well. So we put up this sign up for free up at the top, so that streamers and regular individuals can create profiles and go from there. We also have the register up here too. But looking at this, maybe we need to make like our sections a little bit thinner. I think there's a lot of space there, but that's something we can do with Floydy. But is there anything else you wanted to go through on the main page, landing page?
Yeah, so there's also something that is going to be coming up on this landing page is a video. We're still working on that, like a video that is going to explain more about Rio. It's currently hidden, but it's there. It's going to show it's a nice video right below the live stream. So it's going to be in this section here, which is going to be pretty cool. Overall, regarding the spacing and stuff, you meant probably between the sections. It's good. Yeah. It's good to leave a little bit of spacing to let the eyes rest for a little bit. But overall, yeah, the page has much better messaging this time. It's showing what Rio is about. And yeah, I definitely think it's an improvement compared to the previous page. Okay. But then again, like even the same page, like you look at it, may seem simple, but did require a lot of work, and especially different browsers, like they have like minor things they're implementing differently, and you have to go in, in each specific browser and tweak those different things. Like they could be minor, but they would break the whole experience because of those minor things. And like the worst offender is Safari, always. Like that's, I don't know why they can't just go and do the same as everyone else, but that's how it is. But it's a popular browser, and we have to make sure that everything is shown properly. And of course, different sizes. So right now we're looking at only one screen size, but then somebody has a bigger screen and somebody else has a smaller screen. And we have to go into every single breakpoint and every single different size and like make minor tweaks to make sure that everything still looks properly on different sizes. Yeah. But overall, I definitely think this landing page is looking better. It's an improvement compared to the old one. So it was a good idea to do it.
Yeah, aesthetically, it looks way better. And just like the messaging, I think is the most important part, because people kind of went to the landing page and didn't even really know what Rio even was or what we could do for them. So we just wanted to make it clear, like, this is what we do for you. This is how you can benefit as a streamer, as a fan. And then we made it easy for them to sign up. So we had that nice big button there. So
yeah, and one thing about landing pages is that's a landing page is usually an ever-evolving piece. So that's something that we're gonna have to pretty much regularly get back to it and improve it based on different feedback. So if we basically have to see what kind of questions we get from people when they land on this landing page, and maybe they don't really understand something. If we get a question about that, that's a good indication for us what we need to go into and improve. So this is still going to be a work in progress. That's what a landing page really is. Like we're going to keep on improving it as time goes by and as we understand more about the customers who are coming on the landing page.
Yeah, that's what I've been relaying to people too, is that we do take the feedback seriously, and for the actual users of the platform, and take those questions. If people are asking the same questions, then there's obviously some kind of issue that we need to look into. So we do listen to everybody, we listen to all the feedback. So I think that's important. So that should be it for the landing page. Looks better. We still have very, very small things to edit out there, like these arrows and stuff like that. But I think it's 99.9% there, and looks way better than before and functions better. It does what it's supposed to do. So we can get into the Explorer page. I'm not logged in or anything, but one of the first things that you guys can see, one of the things that Alex worked on significantly towards this left-hand bar over here. I'm not signed in, so I don't have an account that's following anybody yet, but right now, if you're not signed in or you're not following anybody with an account, we have a suggested section over here. So these are different live streamers that are live right now. Alex and I were talking before the call. We're going to make it so that the live button is going to be green if they have Rio accounts, red if they're on YouTube, purple if they're on Twitch, and we can do it that way so people know where they're streaming from and stuff like that and watch them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alex, you can talk about this. This is your
and this is also like one of those things that we actually started off with one idea of doing it, but then we actually changed it a little bit to make it even better. So initially we thought of doing this only for Rio users, but then we were like, okay, so what if not enough Rio users are going to be online? And we decided, okay, let's also add some Twitch streamers from the other platforms to populate this, so that we always have somebody here in the suggested. And this is a preparation. This is basically an anticipation of the future. This algorithm is only going to get improved. So right now, it's also using information from our bucket of approved streamers, but then it's also, if there's not enough who are live right at this time, we're also populating with additional Twitch streamers so that we always have at least 5 or 6 people that are shown here in the suggested, so that there's always something to do here, so that you can go and watch somebody, so that you're never left with like, okay, so who can I watch now, right? Like there's always something to look at in this case. And as Kyle also said, sure, we're gonna specifically like whoever is a Rio user, it's gonna show as green, and then we're gonna show this platform specific color for those who are live only on the other platforms. So who are not Rio users, but still are live, still are good to watch. And that's what we have this here. So when it's looking from the approved streamers, it's actually right now we're going into more of a random selection, but later on in the future, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna keep track of who's being watched the most, and then we're gonna prioritize those. But that's something for the future, of course, is just a vision of what I see in terms of like how I want this suggested algorithm to work. But for now, this is a good starting point, I think. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I think that's great. And then, yes, I wish I was logged in. I don't know if I had my login on this just so they can see dang it. Yeah, I'm on a different computer. But right above the suggested, you have your following section. So it looks pretty much just like that. But for streamers that you're following, it's going to be right there. So that whole black space should be taken up. And then if you're following more than the number that's on there, so 6, then you can click this view more and you get taken to a page that has more of those people. So if you're following a bunch of people, then go to a whole page that has those followers, and then suggested, if you click that view more, then you should be able to see more streamers. So I don't know if
yeah. So exactly, the following is exactly the same. It's above this suggested section, because those who you're following are a little bit more important than just people we're suggesting, right? So it makes sense that it's right there at the top. And if you close the sidebar, so if you make it small, you're still gonna see the icons, and you can just very quickly click on these people.
Yeah, and this will look better too. Like once people start making Rio profiles, you won't just have like these standard icons in there. You'll have people's profiles.
Yeah. The reason we have the standard icons here is because we don't actually get access. Like when we're taking the streams in here and putting them here, Twitch does not give us the profile photo as well. And that's why we can't really show it, because we're taking them directly from Twitch. But when they create Rio users, yeah, that's when we are showing their actual avatar on Rio, from Rio.
Yep. Okay. Is there anything you want to say about so if you go into somebody's profile like this and they're streaming and you go to it, is there anything you want to talk about this page, like what you've done to this page or what changes might be coming? I know we're getting rid of this watch on Twitch button down here, but is there anything else you and Lodi have talked about?
It's just a few cosmetic changes. So right now we're actually just showing the information from Twitch. It's very similar to what Twitch shows, but we actually want to clean this up a little bit. We want to show how long the stream has been live for, and yeah, getting rid of this button because it's not necessary, since you can already go to this
Go here. This
yeah,
button.
like there's already a link on the player itself, so like we shouldn't add this. Now we also, like, for Rio users, we have this button to donate to streamers directly from here, but it only works for Rio streamers. You can only donate to Rio streamers, not to those who are not on Rio yet. And it's just a little bit of cleaning up. There's also, like, if this streamer, for example, has not only Twitch connected, but also has YouTube, there's a toggle where you can go between those streams, so you can watch whatever you want to watch, basically.
Do you have a test account or something that we can look at, that we can show that, like the toggle?
Only if they're both live on both Twitch and YouTube, right? I don't think we have somebody that is live right now on both, because that toggle is only shown when they're live on both. If they're only live on one platform, then there's no point in showing that toggle. So it's just hidden from view, because otherwise it's just going to cause confusion. So that's why it's left there. Yeah, it's out of view. But there's, like, the only thing we would be able to see is somebody who has a YouTube live stream, but then it would still not show the toggle because it would just show the YouTube live stream.
Yeah. So the YouTube page it's going to look just like this too, with the chat on the side as well.
Yeah, we can actually see how a YouTube page looks like if we go to, there's this streamer Aduma Mom, I think, and there is still what do you call this? A replay of the YouTube live stream, and it's still showing. You can still watch it, even if it's not live anymore.
What's the YouTube name, or what's the name?
It's Adumamum, I think.
ADUM. Oh, the drop down isn't working.
It did. Okay. Can
Let's see if that.
So there's no way to trigger it manually, huh? So I need to look into this one as well. It's probably not finding anyone.
Now it popped up for a little bit, for a second there.
Yeah. So actually, like, what I did on this search bar is make sure that we're not starting the search with less than 2 characters, I think. But at the same time, it looks like there's still some things there with the reactivity that is still causing some issues. So that's something that I definitely need to look into to make sure that it works perfectly. But if you go, let me actually try to give you the link directly. So
okay. Do you want to share your screen?
You
can go at your pace if you want to.
I mean, I could, but I'm guessing.
Looks like the arrows on this one got messed up too.
Yeah, that's because it's the same carousel.
Yeah, I thought, oh, that's interesting, because I saw it on this exact computer earlier, and it looked good.
It's the same carousel, so like I moved it there, and like I adjusted things a little bit for like a bit of a different size, but then this one was untouched. So it's one of those things where like you just have to look into, like, if I didn't, this is looking like it's a bigger screen size than what I'm looking at normally. So like there is a way that I'm increasing that size, but it looks like this particular. Yeah, let me see. So let me just quickly check what I'm seeing on my end. Okay, so I'm still seeing. So that stream that we wanted to look at, it's actually not gonna show. So that video was turned as private, and the chat is also not available right now. I'm looking at that streamer, so we wouldn't be able to actually show that. But it's very similar to how Twitch looks like. It's still like the chat is on the same side as Twitch, so like it's a consistent experience basically. But it is the YouTube chat. So when you go on actual YouTube stream, the chat that you see there, that's what you're going to see.
Okay. And then one of the things that we're doing in the future is making it so that both chats are visible at the same time, right? So that people can interact with both YouTube and Twitch, and they can see the engagement happening on both ends of it. And
yeah, that's something that would be awesome to do. And
yeah. But I know you worked on this as well. These pages, especially this language part.
Yeah, this was a simple thing. It's regarding the languages. So now the language gets persisted. So when you go between, so now you're in this game, you chose the language that you want to prefer. Then if you go on a different page and then you go on a different game, the language that you chose is going to be saved so that you only see the streams for that language, as you see here, unless you disable that. And you can actually go into your user profile settings and pick your preferred languages from there, and they're automatically going to be applied in this section. But yeah, it looks like we don't have an account here.
Yeah, I wish it was on my other computer. Do you have an account on yours? We can share your screen.
I do. I think. Let me see if because I'm on my laptop right now, not on the workstation. Let me just quickly see.
I'm usually on my.
What's up?
I'm usually on my laptop. I'm never on this computer. This is my PC in my office.
I think we can switch to me sharing my screen.
All right, I'm gonna turn mine off real quick.
Let's try that. Window. So let's do this. Okay, so are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you see here, I'm also following a few people. So I have both the following and the suggested. And you still see the people here. And then whenever you're on their webpage. So whenever somebody is live, even for this following, we are going to see this live badge right next to their name, just the same. But here's the thing. When they're live and you click on them, you go on their stream page. But when they're not live and you click on them, you go on their user profile page. So that's just to make sure that, because like if you go when they're not live and you go on the stream page, there's nothing going to be shown there. So like it just doesn't make sense to do that. So this is basically what their page looks like. Remember, by the way, we had this issue with thumbnails with a question mark. So we no longer have that problem. Like
I think another aesthetic thing too is we separated the streaming platforms from the social media platforms, so it's easy to see what platforms people are streaming on now. It's not all bunched together in one big line item. So we have two different columns or different rows now.
Exactly, and the streaming platform are the more important ones that we want to highlight. So that's why they're like this shown, so that you can they can attract your attention right away, because this is a streaming first platform, not a regular social media first. So that's why the other social media, good to follow, but they're on like their own separate line, and you're just staying there. But then the streaming are highlighted in this rectangle right here. What else? Let's have a look. Yeah, so I wanted to show you guys, for example, if I'm on the actually, if I go to settings, I have preferred language, and this is what I can just pick whatever language I prefer and how I want this, like what I want to filter by. So I'm going to choose, for example, English and let's say Romanian. That's my native language. But I'm pretty sure the stream, not all streams are going to have Romanian. But basically, if I go now to GTA 5, for example, I'm going to see here that English is pre-selected and Romanian as well. So we're going to do our best to filter by the languages that you have selected already. So you're not going to see streams in a different language than what you've selected. If that your language is not available, I mean, nothing is going to show, of course. So it's a good idea to just have a couple of languages. And yeah, like if I just choose to deselect one language, maybe that's going to synchronize as well. So from this point onward, when you go on anywhere else, it's just that language that is going to be selected. And it's the same here in the settings. Now it's only that one language that is chosen. So this was actually a pretty small thing to do, but it does improve the user experience, because before this change, the language would get reset whenever you'd go to new pages. So I think that's it helps with providing a better user experience overall, right?
Yeah. Are you able to go back to your profile, like the back end?
Yeah, I can.
So this is something that we added to right here. So when you create an account at Rio, you're not a streamer right off the bat. You kind of have to apply for it. And we wanted to, kind of like the landing page, we wanted our messaging and we wanted the call of actions to really get streamers to, we want to give them multiple places to see that they need to apply to be a streamer, so we can get them going, obviously. So one of the things that Alex added was when you're in your profile, so this is like the back end of his profile that he sees, this is where he can update his social media and his streaming platforms and stuff like that. He sees this banner now, it says become a streamer, and then it kind of gives you like benefits of doing it and what you can do, what is included in all that, and then the apply button right there, which is really easy too.
Yeah, so you hit apply, you get this small form. If you don't have any streaming platform connected, you have to connect it first, and then you just send the application. And after you send it, oops, I don't know why I was kicked out. So it looks like I was kicked out. I have to see what happened in there. There you go. So it's pending a review, and it's going to show like this until the application is going to get reviewed on the back. And what's up?
No, I was just saying that we review it, and then the reason why that was so short, like it was just asking for the name, title, and then what streaming platforms, is because we already get a bunch of information when they sign up. So like we had their emails and stuff like that. So just a little bit more information that we collect on the back end to get them to be a streamer.
And if you wanna, even if you wanna be a streamer, make sure that before you send your application, you also complete your social media platform. So the more information you give up front, the more we're gonna have available when reviewing the profile, and we're gonna see if your profile is safe for Rio.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. So for, like Alex mentioned it earlier, but for like the carousel and the suggestion and stuff like that, we don't want. The reason we made pools of trusted streamers is because we don't want any kind of not safe for work content, or there's people pushing all different kinds of stuff. So we don't want kids hopping on here and seeing things they shouldn't be seeing. So that was one of the priorities we made in selecting those streamers. We want everything to be clean and G-rated. So.
And we also made this profile page where you update your information. We also made it easier to work with. So right now, if you want to update your name and like there's this title and bio, you just press this edit icon and you get all this information at once right here, and then you can cancel or save whatever you wrote. Maybe you changed your mind and you wanted to cancel. For the streaming platforms, as you hover over them, you can either delete them or you press add and then you add a new platform. And it's really the same for social media. You can even update information right from here. So no extra clicks and stuff to go into edit mode or no edit mode. It's just straight in here. You want to update your cover, you just hover, you see this button, you press on it, and then you can choose the cover that you want. And it's really the same for the avatar. It's as simple as it gets.
Yeah, that's what we try to do, like across the entire platform, is to make it as easy as possible for every single person that comes on. So whether you're a streamer, well, that's weird, it pops up for you. Looks like maybe it pops up for you because you're logged in.
Yeah, I kind of just figured that maybe this is the case. Maybe that's why it's show, because like I knew it was working because I checked. I always check everything before deploying and stuff. So like I knew that it was supposed to be working. So maybe it's because you weren't logged in, and that's a note that I need to make for myself and basically verify and see why it doesn't work if you're not logged in, because I think it should work if you're not logged in, right?
Yeah. Try searching Ninja, see if that comes up.
Who?
Ninja.
Yeah, Ninja. This a guy?
Oh, yeah. Ninja didn't pop up, so it looks like it's. Are you following that guy or something? Maybe it's.
No, I'm not following this guy. It's searching only through Rio users.
Okay, so it's not all of Twitch. Okay.
No, not all of Twitch. Yeah, like we would be eating up through a lot of quota if we, even on Twitch, if we did it this way. But yeah,
Okay.
I think it's okay. It's probably like it really depends. If we want, like if it makes sense to search through Twitch, we can actually do that because they give us this possibility through their API. So we can do that if we wanted. But for now, it's just searching through Rio users.
Yeah, maybe have like a separate section or something for that, so people could search like just Twitch users or YouTube users or whatever. Because we want people to find Rio users first, so that's good that we have that. But we still want people to be able to find like Ninja's profile and stuff like that, or other people, other big creators that they follow.
Yeah, so these are definitely things that we're gonna keep on improving and doing and adding. So
Yeah.
what else? Yeah, so regarding YouTube, for example, since we briefly mentioned that and also briefly mentioned quota in terms of Twitch, but with YouTube, that was also a pretty interesting challenge. So recently, some users were encountering this problem, and they were wanted to connect their YouTube profiles. They would get no channel found. They would get an error of linking unsuccessful. And after investigating, that actually turned out to be a problem of YouTube quota. So YouTube, they belong to Google, and Google, they don't want to give you a lot of access to their API. That's just how they are. So if you want to get more access and be able to make more API hits, you actually have to request this increase from them, and that process is just very, very complicated. So we had this challenge because, we want to know if somebody who connected their YouTube account, we wanted to know if that person is live or not. But whenever you connect your YouTube, or if we check if that person is live or not, that's using up that same pool of points that YouTube is giving us. So what was happening is the whole, like all of the points, they were being consumed by checking the connected accounts if they're live or not. So whenever somebody would want to connect a new account, they wouldn't be able to because the points were already consumed. And this was quite frustrating. So then I had to dive really deep into all of the YouTube API and see how we're connecting and to try to find some workarounds to consume less quota while still knowing if our streamers who have their YouTube connected, if they're still live. And after a long search, I did find out a really nice way. And with this method, we're now able to support, without even requesting a quota increase from YouTube, we're now able to support around 1,000 streamers who have their YouTube connected. But that's just now. Then if we need more than that, we can still apply to increase our quota, and we're going to be able to provide the exact calculation. YouTube is going to know that, hey, we're not just messing with their APIs, that we are really very conservative with how we're using it, and they will allow us to increase this. And at that time, we're going to be able to support tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of channels.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else that we need to go through. I think that covers most of it.
Yeah, I think
like,
that's.
There were just so many like smaller things that you like came across like throughout like doing the bigger things that we spent some time on, and those just aren't worth going into right now because they are smaller and a lot of it you can't even see. But
yeah, there's just some general code improvements for the future to be able to spend less time, because if sometimes you try to build features fast, but you don't really take care too much of the code, you get a lot of technical debt that you then later have to still go and fix. So sometimes we just have to pause on some of the features, go fix a little bit of that technical debt, because technical debt is still kind of like a debt you paid back with interest. And the more technical debt you have, the harder it is to add features later. So sometimes, once in a while, we go and fix some of that. We pay off some of that technical debt, basically, if you will, and so that we can move properly into the future and making sure that we're able to keep on adding features, keep on making the application better, because there is a lot of ideas I've seen Kyle has about this. So yeah, like I'm very excited about what's coming up for Rio in this year, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I know there's one last thing I wanted to go through. I'm just
Uh,
remembering it now,
uh,
but because it was something I've talked about with a bunch of people and trying to get it fixed and trying to see people like log in with their Twitch Prime accounts and stuff like that. But the ad stuff on the live streams, this has been the death of Alex and I for like 2 weeks. This is what we constantly talk about, we spent so much time trying to find a solution, a way around it, but way better than I do. So if you want to talk about it and what the issue is and how we
yeah,
try to do it.
definitely. As Kyle said, this is something that gave me, a lot of headaches because they used, like Kyle said, they were not there before, and like I totally believe him, and I thought maybe some of my changes triggered them, but then I actually went back in time into the code, and we have this possibility to just go back to an earlier version, and I saw that the ads were still showing, so we are like, okay, so it seems that Twitch just decided to start pushing these so-called ads, but they're not actually ads, as in there are places where they would normally show ads if you were on Twitch, but for all embedded players, so the player that we're showing from Twitch here on Rio, that's called an embedded player. So we're taking it from Twitch and then we're putting it on Rio. So on these embedded players, they're modifying the video to show just a cover. And like for some streams, it's just gonna it seemed like a loader, so it's kind of showing you that the stream is loading, but it's not actually loading. If you were on Twitch, you would see an ad in that place. And then for some streams, you also get these mid-roll ads, so they just put a cover that says commercial break is in progress, and then you have to wait for it to come back. But if you were on Twitch, you would see the ad. However, I've been trying to find ways to work around that, and some people on the web, they were claiming that this was because of the Twitch player that we're using, and I went and circumvented the Twitch player and got the video feed directly, and I would still get that. So it's not because of the player, it's the actual video feed that Twitch is pushing to all embedded content. And then as I looked into it deeper, I saw that on the Twitch website itself, they are actually not modifying this feed even when they're showing ads on top of them. And how I found that out, well, one, I'm from Moldova, and in Moldova, Twitch does not show ads. So while I was seeing on Rio, I was seeing these segments with these covers of commercial break in progress or that loader for pre-roll ads. On Twitch itself, I would not see any ads. But then what did I do? I used a VPN to move my internet to the United States, and I looked at the same stream, and now I would see the ads. What did I do after that? Well, I added an ad blocker just to basically get rid of the ads on Twitch. And then again, as if I was from back in Moldova, I would not see the ads, even though this segment on Twitch would still show. Not on Twitch, on Rio. On the Rio player would still show. So then what I realized after doing a lot more further research and also seeing a bunch of different conversations on the internet about it, it's something that Twitch does for all embedded players. So whenever you're trying to get Twitch content from outside of Twitch, they are modifying the actual video feed itself, so you can't really get rid of those segments. So what we could do in this case is just simply wait and not show before that segment is done. But like this is not a very good user experience. I did come up with an idea that could help, but I'm afraid that idea is not something that Twitch would like, and Kyle does not want to do anything that would make Twitch get pissed at us. And I understand that idea that I came up with is trying to lie to Twitch API and make them think that the player is not on some other website, but it's actually on Twitch, so that Twitch would give us the clean feed. But that's in the very gray area, and we don't know if it's a good idea to do. But what we did find out is that if you have a Twitch Prime account, right, the Twitch Prime account, and you are logged in on Twitch with a Twitch Prime account, then whenever you go on Rio and watch, like you're not gonna see these segments.
Yeah. I think that's why we thought there weren't ads before any of this before, because the accounts that we were checking from all had Twitch Prime. So I think it's just one of those things where it's just
Yeah.
scenario. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. And just to clarify too, like we had a bunch of different people looking at this too, not just Alex. Like Alex obviously knows what he's talking about, but I talked to ethical hackers, I talked to guys who specialize in Twitch development. I talked to so many different people and nobody could come up with a solution and said pretty much it's impossible. So there's got to be some kind of workaround or something just to not have it up front. I know Alex is shaking his head like, no, there's not, but there has to be something we could do just to, I don't know, save that user experience a little bit. I know we can't get it out of speed, but
even if there was, like, we would need to spend like a lot of time on just trying to find it, because this is one of those scenarios where you just need to come up with an idea, try it, fails, come up with another idea, you try it, fails, come up with another idea. So we need to spend a lot of time just like maybe trying to find something. But at this stage, at least, I would think it's better to focus on some of the other more important features
oh yeah,
of that build, and then we can maybe look into it from time to time and like see if we can find a way. But for now, that's like the best way of getting rid of those is having a Prime account, being logged in on Twitch, and then whatever you watch on Rio, you're no longer going to get that, because we are embedding the player from Twitch. So the player knows that you're logged in on Twitch, even if you're on Rio.
Yeah. So it's not a huge thing, not a huge issue at all. It's just maybe a little inconvenient and it ruins the user experience a little bit, but there are ways to get around it, like you said, with the Twitch Prime and stuff like that. And some streamers don't even have it at all, which we don't understand why. So there's some criteria or something we're missing. It's not out there. I've looked everywhere and I can't find it, but it's I don't know.
Yeah, we spent a ton of time on this, and that's actually one of the I guess one of the bigger reasons why it took so long to even release this live stream with the carousel stuff, because we were just stuck into this, because like, okay, we are showing the carousels on live stream, but we're seeing the ads, so like we need to fix this, and we we dug everything under every rock on this planet.
every rock, every pebble, we picked up everything. But, yeah. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to end with, but I think I'm good. We went through the whole platform, pretty much everything that you've been working on and why we did those things a certain way, but I don't think I have any more.
Maybe quickly mention I can probably quickly mention like this next update that is coming, purchasing tipping with a credit card directly. So instead of like having to buy gems first, that's something that I'm going to be deploying very soon. So yeah, like right now, if you want to support your streamer, you have to go and purchase gems first, and then you go on the streamer and try to donate. But from like after this update, you're just going to be able to press on donate, and then use your credit card right there to purchase the gems that are going to be automatically sent to the streamer, like right there, without you having to go through extra steps.
So what is the flow for that? So they use the credit card. Does it buy the gems and automatically gets sent to the end user's account?
Yep. So like you just buy, the purchase gets confirmed, and the gems are being transferred automatically without any additional steps or actions from the donator.
Yeah. So it makes it super easy. So people, if they have gems in their account, it makes it super easy for them because they can just transfer gems. If they don't have any gems, it makes it super easy for those people too, because they can just put in their credit card. If they already have one on file, they should be able to use that as well. So everything that we've done is trying to make it as simple as possible for everybody. That's why we updated a lot of our messaging and call to actions. We just want to make sure that it's super simple, super efficient. Nobody gets stuck anywhere. And people have gotten stuck so far in past versions of the site. So that's why we brought Alex on and focused a lot of attention on those items, because we don't want anybody to sit there and spin their wheels or feel like they're stuck, because if they feel stuck one time, they're probably not going to come back. And so
and I also still have different ideas for how to improve even like the onboarding stuff, and like just make sure that everything is a seamless experience. I haven't fully even talked to you about it, but like I've already been thinking of some concepts that we can do. And also, on the Explore page, also what we wanted to build. Like right now on the Explore page, you're only able to see Twitch streams, but there's something that we also have in the works, right?
Yeah, you can talk about it. It's your thing.
Yeah. So we're also making so that you can also search through YouTube streams, not only Twitch streams. So you would be able to choose whether the streams you want to look at are from Twitch or from YouTube. There's going to be a toggle in there, and then you'll be able to also look at to watch YouTube streams.
Yeah, and the reason why we do have to have a separate section for YouTube is because games and like the categories are different. They're categorized differently on Twitch than YouTube, so they're not the same. You can't just mix them together. So we're going to have separate toggles for it. Correct.
And not only that, it's just like we also have to call different.
Yeah,
we have to look at different data, and then once you're in it, you also have to like. It's just the techniques are different, basically. Just not to not go too much into the technical details, but like it's just different scenarios and different techniques that you have to do. So that's why you'll have to pick whether you're looking through YouTube or through Twitch. But overall, that's in the future we're probably going to combine them. So like you just see the streams and you pick the stream, and no matter if it's from YouTube or from Twitch, that's a vision for the future. But for now, we still want to offer this experience, because otherwise it's just going to take a long time to build all that and make sure that everything is combined. But it's better to offer this intermediate step of like at least being able to switch between Twitch and YouTube, and then later on maybe we're going to have this combined experience.
Yeah, and the reason why we're adding YouTube to that Explore page is because one of the reasons we created Rio is that people could find streamers of all sizes. So big, small, doesn't matter. We want people to be found, and the only reason that the only way they're going to be able to be found is if they're in that Explore page, and people can scroll through and find those people. So I think it's super important to get those people on there so they could be discovered.
Exactly. And one other thing is not just to be able to find, but also regardless of the platform. Right now, if we're only showing results from Twitch, that means you have to stream on Twitch. What if I don't stream on Twitch? What if I only stream on YouTube, for example, right? Like I wouldn't be found. But with YouTube, like we want to be kind of like a cross-platform thing. Like we're looking through many different platforms, and I'm assuming in the future we're also going to have not just Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, we already got approved by TikTok. That was one of the next things I wanted you to work on. We haven't even talked about that at all yet, just because we've had so much up to this point. So that's one of the next things. I think that's going to be a hefty job, but yeah, we'll scope that out in a little bit and then get that going. But we should have TikTok next. But that's why, like completely random. We should have talked about it in the beginning, but you said you've told me and Hank and Matt a few times, you're not a developer, you're a product engineer. So you want to kind of go into that a little bit and why that might be a little bit more beneficial for the company as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. So a software engineer or a developer, they just solve technical problems. So they get specific tasks, what needs to be done, and they do it. As a product engineer, I don't just go and work on a particular task. I actually think about the whole product, the business, and also the user, and how what I need to do is going to have an impact on the business and on the user. Because my motto is basically why, like, if there's something that needs to be done, my first question is, what if we don't do it? Like, what's going to happen if we don't do it? Like, I'm not interested in just simply keeping busy, basically. I'm interested in building something that is going to bring value to the user and to the business. If what we're doing does not bring value to the business, there's not going to be any funding to be able to satisfy the user. The same with the user. If we ignore the user and only think about the business is not going to exist for long. So as a product engineer, I basically stay on I take care of user, business, and the engineering side all together as a trifecta, and I think of them and I make sure that they are combined. And that's the difference between just an engineer who just gets a list of tasks, that's what you need to do, and you do them, and a product engineer who looks at the bigger picture and then figures out okay, what's the best way of doing this? What's the fastest way of accomplishing our goal, so that the investment is going to have the biggest return on that. It really comes down to just that, return on investment.
Yeah. And that's the reason why Matt and I loved working with Alex, is because in the past we've worked with developers and stuff who we would tell them, hey, this is what we want to do, and they'd be like, yes, 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 okay, sounds good, and they'll just do it. But when you bring it to Alex, he'll be like, I wouldn't do it that way, there's a better way to do it, we'll do it this way because this affects that. If we do it your way, it might hurt that a little bit. So it's been great to like get some pushback, and like people might think of that as like a negative thing, but Matt and I love it. Like that's the only way to build out the best business and platform possible, is getting a bunch of different ideas in there and picking the best one, the most efficient one. Like if you just have a bunch of people saying yes to everything, you're not going to accomplish much.
Exactly. And like, to me, this is also the fun part, like trying to think of all these things and not just simply go and write some code. That's not the only, like, I like to participate in building the business, except I'm handling the technical aspect. Like I need to implement the technical aspect, but I like to participate in the business and not just stay there and just solve a bunch of tasks.
Yeah, because especially like a business like this, like the technical side is like 90% of the whole business. Like it's a huge portion of what we're trying to do. If the technical side isn't, elite, it's not great, then the whole business is going to suck. So
exactly.
It's great to have like a person with your mind that like focuses not just on the technical side, but the business side as well. So
I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to help out Rio. So yeah, like it's a fun project. It's interesting. The challenges are interesting.
I feel like we've barely started too. Like once the funding comes through, which is going to be pretty soon, then we got the next roadmap items on deck. But
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
It should be fun. But do you have anything to add before we hop off here?
No, I think that's it. I think we added everything. I think we've shown, how we're thinking of this whole thing. So that's it from my end.
All right, sounds good. Well, obviously I'm Kyle. This is Alex. Alex, thank you so much for your time, for hopping on here and walking through everything in the technical end. I think it's going to help a lot of people understand like what we've been working on with Rio and what the platform is going to be able to do. So thank you very much for getting on here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and talk to you later. Bye, community.